This may or may not be the intro to the vlog. I will watch it back and see what I think after I put it together. Maybe I need better. The dog probably is going to be the determining factor if he interrupts too much. Welcome to the reading vlog for Ashes of Man, book 5 of the Sun Eater series. You'll see me again at the end and in a minute too, right? Because I was going to do a thing. But I hope you enjoyed this vlog and we'll come back for the review. Or did you click for the review to this? It is what it is. And I need to finish my thoughts with this vlog, and then I have to actually write said thoughts to be able to do the review and film the review separately. We're not going to end the vlog and immediately film the review because I'm Morgan and I hope you enjoy this one. Something that was mentioned on my Lore of the Wilds vlog, which I did a thing. I had it just where it was unlisted. You could follow the link and view it that way. And then, I don't know why, but Sunday I decided let's make it public, probably because the review wasn't really getting much traffic, it seemed. But I made it public and it actually got a decent amount of reviews. Dog! But it was mentioned in that I should talk about the plot. And see, I didn't think of this as much, really at the forefront, because in my spoiler vlog, besides just giving my feelings, I feel like I'm really talking about what's happening in the book. So, that I guess the plot can get lost in the jumble of that. The plot for Ashes of Man takes place immediately after Kingdoms of Death, by the way. You'll see me go through that revelation. In this one, though, with the Sealson being united under Doriaika, yes, being united under him, and they are now a unified front being sent out in mass and working together in coordinated assaults. And the Emperor is in grave danger because they know all of his route that he was traveling on. So the Empire, well, yes, the Empire is in great danger. The Emperor is in great danger. Not responding to that well. He's like, I must show the people I'm not afraid. I must be there for my people, see this chaos, help rebuild. He is a great emperor, realistically. He is a very for the people type of emperor, and he cares deeply. Does he do smart things? Sometimes. He has Hadrian under his protection. That's not the point. We're going over the plot right here. So the plot then, because that was kind of the description, but the plot is that Hadrian reveals that he is still alive to the emperor, and that the exact danger that the emperor is in. And it's not that he's not believed, but the emperor, as I said, wants to still show his face. So Hadrian is sent on somewhat of another impossible mission. It's not as impossible because it's also just supposed to be a facty mission. I'm going to say that I cut that part out because I said something that, while true, I don't want to put here because you'll see me say it a little bit and I want you to watch the vlog. So that's my take on the plot. And now you can hear me go into spoilery details and thoughts and feelings. Good morning. It's the 16th and I realized last night the month is halfway over, which is really bad. We're in here because the weed eater of whichever neighbor is doing stuff was way louder in there. So we decided to do it in here but didn't move the camera, so I have listened through chapter 4 this morning. I didn't even tell you. I started the book because that's the month's halfway over. We need to move along with things. And okay, I'm nervous because the last one was so good and so devastating. Weirdly, or not weirdly, some series do this. This series has never done this. It started on the same day the last one ended. So we are still in Hadrian's grief at losing the person. I won't say it yet because we're still really early in. There will be spoilers in the vlog though, as most of them. I don't know if I'm going to do another intro. Maybe. But so far, he has left the island on Colchis and gone to the Athenaeum and met with, who's the head of that one? He met with him to find out who Gibson really was. And it was a huge blow shock. But of course Gibson loved Hadrian, so he never blamed Hadrian for what Hadrian had confessed to only Gibson alone in pretty much the whole universe, besides, the Red Company, Krim and Valka knew. That we're still very much dealing with the grief. And after he talked to them, he was kind of taking it to the governor of the planet I said a minute ago that I don't remember now. He was taken to the governor there, though, and he says, I need to use your quantum telegraph to tell the emperor, I'm alive, and relay what happened. And the governor was like, well, I need you to tell me first. And so he did. Remarkably, Hadrian did. I guess he really trusts this man in some form or fashion. And then the Scholiast who was there it was just the governor, the Scholiast, Hadrian and Valka, asked, well, where were you during this time? Like, because there was a gap in the story, where Hadrian knew that Valka and Polino and them were alive and before they saved him. He's like, where was your group? How did this happen? We don't understand. And Valka just repeated that tale of what happened with them. And so that was kind of sad too, because in her memory and everything being perfect as it is, she sometimes did the inflections of Octavia or Polino. So a little bit sad way to start the morning. And I think I'm going to use the same tabby breakdown that I did on the last one, because it still looks like there's a lot of those tabs. So I'm going to just use the same one instead of opening the new pack. And then I need to actually tab this one, but I have to go to the dentist. And then I'm going to get oil changed. Maybe we remember to update later today. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I need to get a move on. So, good morning. Nope, that's happy reading vlog. Yes, I'm awake. So yesterday we got maybe a third of the way through. Cause almost 500 pages, and I'm at 142. Yeah, 142. So almost a third of the way. Will we get as much read today? No, probably not. It's almost noon, and I have filmed Monday's video. Yay me. And edited tomorrow's. I still have to do a watch back of the rendered out one to make sure there's no hiccups. Hopefully it's intelligible because it's really short, but I think I hit the important parts. Maybe, or people could consider this my worst review because I don't go into world building and magic. But if the book doesn't go into world building and magic, there's nothing to go into. And it's a fantasy, romantasy. So, there should be. We're going to move on from that though. So 140 pages in, and I don't feel like I've read that much. Like, they flew by. The pacing is slower on this one, which isn't bad because we are spending time with Hadrian, who's still getting better. He's still getting over things. He has all his fingers again. They regrew his fingers. They have redone the muscles in his bones in his shoulder, so all of that's in. And there was the whole part of him and Sir Hector. Okay, based off the comments made, I think Sir Hector was one of the ones from Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 2, one of those stories. I just don't remember, and I feel like the name should have set it off and like it gave clues to it. So I need to look back at that. And just him sparring with Sir Hector and seeing how he's not a young man anymore and he's not able to do this, and he's like, I'm not as good as I was, as good as I need to be. I'm my legend and stuff like this. Like, he didn't want to train where anybody could see him at first because he doesn't want to tarnish his reputation of how everybody sees him as amazing. The ego right there and like the bruise to it. But it's like, you get it. So I'm not saying he's super egotistical. I'm saying that you can understand where he's coming from, that he was in this diminished state. Of course, he was tortured for 7 years, and he has to keep reliving that fact because he has to keep telling people about it. All the inquisitors of the government, of the secret intelligence, not secret intelligence, but the intelligence peoples briefing him over and over and over again. And I think he had to go through a chantry questioning, but he had the full backing of the emperor for that. Like, they were there to protect him. He was not left alone with them. No assassination attempts. And then going to meet with the emperor. And I can't decide if the emperor just knows Hadrian so well that Like, that's why he first met with him in front of the whole court and was like gruff kind of with him, saying, you know, you failed, and like getting Hadrian worked up into being like, no, my men didn't fail. You will not call them failures, because they gave their lives so that I could live and come warn the empire. And the emperor stands up and he walks down the dais kind of to Hadrian, and he, says to the whole court, you're right. This was important. This was not a failure. You have helped us. And so far he has not talked to the emperor alone yet to be able to, fully brief. Because of course nobody else can know about the Quiet and all the other things that happened in the Watchers. But in the last chapter, the one I just finished, Hadrian met with Prince Alexander again. And the prince is still slightly salty, I guess, about what happened almost a century before. The prince is no longer that young man, but being steeped in the court politics, and everybody around him, being knife in the back or this machinations. It has affected him. It has. And that's kind of sad. I had hoped that they could bury whatever animosity kind of happened and misunderstandings. Because when Hadrian first saw him, he, was like, this is a familiar face. There's so few of those I have left in the universe. And he was actually, he wanted, friendliness there. And he's like, it's so good to see you. And his whole demeanor, but Alexander couldn't see it like that. He's just seeing where Hadrian's trying to manipulate him again. And the last thing he said to him was, it would have been better if you stayed dead. Under his breath. Where none of the courtiers that kept listening to them could hear. It's been nice. Like I said, slower pace, so no big action thing. But after the trauma, it's kind of good that he hasn't been thrown back into another action. Did not get the update filmed yesterday. Possibly could have done it yesterday morning, but I didn't. I just read, and that was kind of nice. Made sure all the stuff was in place for the video. And then the gymnastics finishing up and watching the Olympic gymnastic thing. Well, one of the first rounds to qualify and stuff, I think, for the Olympic team, which she really enjoyed. But the book, it's kind of hard to update, even with being able to say spoilers. And I watched what I said in the last one, so things have happened, but yet it's hard to, this one just hits differently. We don't have a ton of action, and we don't have the ton of emotional trauma. It's more realizing how our life has changed, how our character has changed, for how his life, especially, how his life has changed, how he's grown, how he's not the young man that he was going into things before, and the parallels. We have gone to meet the emperor. I think I'd already said that. Yes, because I said that. Okay. He actually met the emperor, and you find out some things where they knew about the creatures that came before. They knew about the Anar and what they worshipped. They found remains, and they, the chamberlain to the emperor just believes these are other beings. These are just older beings. That's it. That's it. They're not deities. They're nothing to be worshipped, which is true. They could be organic, but just hugely ascended organic life forms. So he kind of doesn't believe Hadrian's tale. And we find out things about the God Emperor and his visions from the Quiet, and the book that was written about him by his lady that the Chantry has buried. And there's 3 copies left. Okay, unimportant to the overall scheme of the book, of course. Someone tries to assassinate Hadrian again, and him finding his guards dead and how that part kind of affected him. It wasn't the same, but at the same point, seeing more people die for him, it hit him hard. Then he is sent on another semi-impossible mission to a Minos base that they have found on this unnamed, uninhabited planet. It's supposed to be a stealth mission to get in, extricate information, knock out their, capture people pretty much, and find out things. It doesn't go to plan. And the team that was with Hadrian, his kind of strike team with him and Valka went in, they slightly turned against him when things weren't going well. They're like, you're leading us into a trap, you're working with the extras, she's a witch, blah, 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 blah. And they don't make it out. And Hadrian doesn't do anything. It was kind of, a mental strain on him that this happened. Urbane Urbane, the one that tormented Valka and Hadrian, he was there. And you find out what this research base was, and it was not a weapons manufacturer like what the Empire believed, because they're sent on reconnaissance and stuff and to take them down. It was not a weapons manufacturer in such the sense of physical weapons or even the daemons that they made for the Cielsen or themselves. It is a viral weaponry research facility. And it's already been in production for decades, and they have achieved what they were looking for, and they have sent, you know, it's out in the universe. It's not just there anymore. So that is a very big threat. And the Emperor, though, before Hadrian even left, the Emperor, even though he knew all of his locations were compromised, he's like, well, Forum isn't safe either. I have to be out here with my people. I have to be seen to support. I cannot cower in fear. And so even though Hadrian warned and warned and warned about all of the locations being known, he would not deviate from his plan of his tour around the outer edge of the empire. This, of course, leads to him being pinned down on Perfugium, and now Hadrian and Alexander are working out a plan of how to save the emperor. As Hadrian admitted to Alexander, or not, admit is not the right word, but he told Alexander, I know it was you who tried to kill me, and I forgive you. I do not want your throne. No matter what everybody keeps telling you, I do not want this. And he admitted, I want my freedom. And it's like blowing his mind, blowing Alexander's mind. And the Jadians arrived, and we met with the Jadian prince, not the prince of princes, wait, that's the Seal Center, or the one above all the princes of Jad, that they're conclave, but he's kind of next in line to inherit that title. And okay, even the spoiler, I don't think I could say it, because that was kind of amazing, and that was nice. So it's still, I don't know, maybe the action is ramping up now, but it's like also still kind of slow, and it's just the nuanced details to the feeling and the growth kind of Hadrian and the healing that Hadrian's still having to go through. I was really afraid that we were going to lose Valka at that last thing, and I'm still kind of worried that that's going to be the shoe that drops. I don't know, there's something going to happen between him and Alexander. Something is going to happen, I think, at Perfugium. So far, Valka hasn't been woken up while they're planning out how to save the emperor. They're like, she's not needed, we're not. And in the first update, or the second, I said that it picked up like the same day as and that's like different. But then I remembered that this, in the book, what's that one? Book 4 and 5 were split in two, so that's why there was no time skippage, because they were technically supposed to be one book, and then they were split into two. So that makes sense now. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I'm probably going to finish it. I should finish it. It's 160 pages, but I still have to go edit Monday's video and do things today. So we'll see. I'm liking the book so much, and it's just, I don't understand how to talk about it at this point, and that's why I feel like this is a weird update. Besides giving you details, I'm not saying how I feel about it. I said it in my weekly update thing that it's so nuanced, and it's hard to describe, and I'm afraid this vlog is going to go terribly because I'm not updating and describing well, like the feelings and what's happening. And I posted the second time in a week. That's yay, I did it. And hopefully I'll keep doing that and actually tell everybody about what that is that I'm talking about at some point. I finished it last night, and I feel a little bad that I don't feel as devastated as in Kingdoms of Death. Oh my god, okay. I think it's just because it didn't happen on page. Yes, let's go with that. And then the thing at the end with Lorien, that actually I was like, no, Lorien, no. But I mean, I said that for, the other thing that I'm not going to mention, because that's a huge spoiler. So I do feel bad that I think I should be more upset, but yet I'm not. And that was a huge twist, though. I mean, like, realistically, what the Emperor said, that was just stupid. I get no bills and whatever. And you even just said he was grieving. I don't care if you don't think that they are, worthy people or as good as people as your daughter. Whatever. It's not like they're marrying for love or whatever. But you don't say something like that. I still can't believe Hadrian punched him. I still can't believe Hadrian punched him. That was, okay, that happened. And then to be saved from the prison planet, or he didn't go to the prison planet, but to be saved from that fate by the Prince of Jad. And so now we're gonna get to go see Jad, I think. That's nice. That's nice. There was also something that happened like much earlier on where it was quite disturbing, and I would really like to flush that mental picture thought from my head now of what happened to the Duke. And also they're all so stupid. When Hadrian was yelling to turn it off, because he could tell he was starting to put it together and figure out what was about to be shown across the holograph by was it one of the fingers? I think it was one of the fingers of the CL sim. Okay, if he was yelling turn it off and they weren't listening, he should have then said, somebody remove the Duchess, so that she wouldn't have to see that, because they weren't listening. He yelled turn it off like 3 times, and yet they let it play out. They let her see this horrible, horrible thing. I can't get the mental. It took hours, and now I'm gonna have that again. Great, but it took hours yesterday to stop having that pop up in my head, even while we were at some other part of the book. Very disturbing, by the way, very disturbing. Now I get to let you think about it too, without, I ain't saying it, but you know. Okay, I'm finished. I'll probably update one more time just to have more cohesively with the thoughts. We have an awards day ceremony. We have a dentist appointment again for the youngest as well. So yeah, that's today, and we'll do one more update to wrap this up tomorrow with cohesive thoughts and stuff. Now that it's been about 2 days since I finished, I'm still not entirely sure how to quantify the final feelings of this book and how to write the review. Hopefully I described the plot well a minute ago, well, that you would have seen several minutes ago, you know. It was good and is gut-wrenching in other ways, and I still feel like maybe I'm a bad person for thinking that Polino's and them's death was worse. But I am. That was just so much more traumatic to me. And I get why Hadrian would have, you know, think the other part was more traumatic. And watching back through the first footages of the vlog earlier, and while I'm editing things together, and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Yeah, just like how I won't say about the Jadian prince. I don't think I should say this part, because it just changes so much, and it explains that thing I said about the end, though you probably can guess it at the same point. But at least for that part, I would rather you guys read into it and have this reactions for yourself. Oh my gosh, I don't know. It was so good, and I am so nervous now to continue to... Let's open it. Make sure it's okay too, right? Okay. I would be upset that my dust jacket appears to be messed up, but we'll probably replace this with the paperback so they all match, because I'm not going to try to buy all hardbacks. So nervous. And then we have to wait a whole year. And who is this person now? She's got 2 high matter swords, I think. They're blue, right? So that's got to be high matter. She Jadian? I don't know. Who's this person? So I was nervous going into that one, and then that happened. And don't bite the corners of my books. Oh my gosh. Okay, then, well, that was my ending feelings, which I wanted to put on here. It was not coordinated, concised. No, not concised. That's not a word. But I would really like to know, for those of you who have read these books too, how they're hitting for you. So yeah, we can talk about things. There was things too that we found out that's like on the grander scheme of things that I want to dig into more, but at the same time, I know that I'm supposed to care more about, you know, the heart-wrenching loss. I'm going to stop babbling about this. And maybe I will go write the review so I can film the review tomorrow. Yes, and stay ahead of things. Maybe. Thank you guys so much for being here though. If you stayed around to the end, just let me know if you started the series, if you read this one, your thoughts on it. Which book traumatized you more? It's a horrible question. We're gonna go with it though. Thank you so much. I hope you're finding something awesome to read, and you'll subscribe if you like this stuff.